All right, so when we think about balance, right, we tend to think about the extreme stuff like parkour, snowboarding, skiing, standing on one leg. But balance, if you think about it, is really just about keeping your body upright when in fact gravity is always pushing us down. All day, every day, till the day you die. So with balance, it's very important because it's what allows us to walk and not fall over. It's what allows us to run and be able to keep our momentum going forward rather than to the side or not be able to stop when you decelerate. Now, as we get older, we tend to sit a little bit too much. And with all that sitting, when we become sedentary, our muscles go into a state of atrophy. And so they end up getting tight, they end up getting wound up, and we sort of lose this mental connection with them and in many ways forget to actually use them. Now in the meantime, we develop all these sorts of compensations, essentially these bad habits to get us around to do those push-ups, even though we can't seem to get our shoulders to sit back. So we develop all these habits that are really no good to us. And balance is essentially a testament as to where you've developed those muscles. And so if you find that your balance is pretty terrible, even just walking around, you can't seem to find equilibrium, you do have to ask yourself, what is it about every step that some muscle is not tightening up? It's not kicking in, it's not giving you the stability you need to be moving forward. So when you're thinking about balance, you should think of it as like this ongoing thing, right? That it takes effort to sit up straight. It takes effort to stand up straight. It takes effort to stand over a subway and not be able to tip over, right? So all of that is balance. So particularly for our aging population and our senior population, balance becomes very, very important. In fact, in many ways it's sort of this life-threatening thing. And it's really hard for us younger folks sometimes to imagine, how is it that you could get on a bus and be, very comfortable and confident that you can carry your backpack and be able to sit down. And if you can't find a seat, that you can just stand up anyways, right? If you're a lot older, getting on the bus without having something to hold on to, that's gonna be pretty tough. So the stat is for somebody over 65, if they fall over and they break their hip, in many ways that's considered a death sentence. And it sounds harsh because the statistics show that if you fall, break your hip, you're over 65, there's about a 50% chance that you will live for more than another year. And it's not so much that the hip is what, kind of took your life away. The hip, by you becoming immobile, essentially took away your physical activity. And so you're no longer walking around, you're no longer able to be as active as you were, however inactive you might have thought you were before. After that, when you stop being as active, your heart starts to get weaker. And eventually, if your heart, this muscle, doesn't get used quite enough, then unfortunately that's it. All right, so balance is very important because it is sort of this precursor to a goodbye for a lot of people. All right, so you definitely want to avoid even getting into the hospital in the first place. Okay, so what to do about your poor balance, right? What are the things that you can do to avoid being like that, right? And in general, the most simplest way that I can tell you is that you have to be active. Whatever that means to you, you just have to get your body moving, you have to get your blood circulating. Now, this could mean a lot of different things for a lot of different people. Let's say if walking causes you pain, then perhaps swimming is going to be better for your joints, right? If you are very heavy and walking seems to be uncomfortable. I definitely am not a proponent of running. Personally, I think most people who run end up with some sort of knee, back, or ankle injury. And so I recommend walking. By far the best exercise for most people would be walking. But that's pretty much it. You know, you want to be able to be more active, right? Walk, stretch, hydrate, you know, try not to sit for extended amounts of time. And if possible, you know, do try to see a trainer about learning how to stretch. If you are at that age, believe me, you know, I'm younger, but, you know, believe me that you will feel a incredible difference after you're able to stretch out. And I think a lot of times the weariness that we feel is actually undue muscle tension. Muscle tension that's just been working too hard for too long to keep you standing upright. And in fact, if we learn how to properly engage the right muscles, then balance should allow you to feel like a kid again. That you could be a little bit springy on your feet, right? And not worry about tipping over just because you're suddenly standing on one leg. All right, that's it for today, guys. Hope you guys got more out of that. If you guys have any questions, comments, please let me know. And until then, see you guys next time. Peace.